Alright, cool. What's up, guys? It's your boy 2Natural back again. Today we got a super special guest here today for an interview. Super excited to welcome Jonathan from the official Rivals team onto the channel. Thanks so much again, Jonathan, for coming on today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you, 2Natural. For those who don't know, I'm Jonathan. I'm the commissioner of NFL Rivals. It means I run community here for Mythical Games on NFL Rivals.
Of course, perfect. Well, I was about to ask you what your role is, but I guess we can go into the next question. So I know from a lot of other games that it's because you're the outward. I think when people think of like NFL Rivals, like customer support or something like that, right? Like they think of you as the community manager. But I know that's not as simple of a role because a lot of times people will take their like frustrations out on you, I guess. There's positive and negative, but really when you're not in control of like a lot of the code and stuff, right? Can you let people know kind of the responsibilities you have and like the chain of command or communication, I guess, so they can better understand how like it takes time to make changes?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like the mouthpiece and the ears for NFL Rivals for the product team that builds and figures out what to build and then gets it built. So yeah, my job is to grow, nurture, maintain a community of players that love the game. Keep morale up and figure out the right ways to express here's what we're building, here's why we're building it, here's what it means to you guys like you, 2Natural, and other members of the community, and to interact with you guys to create fun experiences in and around the game. So you just keep coming back to play. And then my job is also kind of to report back. So not like a narc necessarily, but to listen to your concerns, take your feedback and pass on hey, they really like this feature, they don't really like that feature. A lot of people are suggesting that we take this feature in this direction to make gameplay easier. Really trying to make sure I represent the quality of life angle in the game for you guys, for the players, to the product team to help them kind of narrow down what to build and what are the best improvements. So try and weigh in some of you are the biggest buyers, some of you the most active players. Some of you have built kind of like NFL Rivals subcultures on Discord with your squads, and I want to make sure that those play a factor in our decision making as a team.
Of course, yeah. I think you're doing a great job of it. I know there's a lot of people, even myself, sometimes give you a hard time in the Discord, but I just want people to know that for all the hard work you do. And I think you've done a great job creating a super active community around the game in the Discord and stuff. I'm a little interested in also your background. So I've talked to a ton of people in the community, and there's people from all over, people who are just into football, people who are into Madden, right, other mobile games, and then some people who are really into the on-chain aspect, the collecting aspect of the game. What did you do before Rivals? How did you end up on the Rivals team, and what made you want to join this project?
Yeah, so Mythical reached out to me. I was working at a company called FanCurve, where I kind of came to Mythical not from the game side, but from the Web3 side. I was working at FanCurve. We were trying to crack digital sports collectibles specifically around kind of digital sports fashion. So what we did was we set up licensing deals with football clubs around the world for the Americans, soccer clubs. For everyone else, I know it's football. And we would create new jerseys based on the kind of the culture and artwork of the club and the brand, and then try to sell those into their fan bases. And it was tough to find product market fit. The market kind of generally started cooling off. There were some weird shenanigans at FanCurve I learned about later. So FanCurve kind of shut down right after I joined Mythical. So it's really good timing. But Mythical reached out to me and said, "Hey, we really want someone that understands community, that understands Web3, that understands the mindset of the digital collector, that could come in and help us build this community." And so I came in. I was totally new to games. It's been a great experience getting to meet everybody at Mythical. And then even better, getting to meet players. I'm not the biggest NFL guy, but I've become one as a result of this experience. Just seeing the passion that you guys have for your teams and for your players and for our game that we're building around it. It's been really exciting to get to meet some cool players and just kind of get some goofy stories. Just last week I was filming with Terry McLaurin from the Commanders, and just had some really good moments with him, and it's really kind of opened my eyes to this other side of the world, of this new part of the world, so to speak. And opened a lot of doors. And then prior to FanCurve, I was working at Sapien, trying to build a Web3 powered social platform where creators can build communities with their audiences. And so I'm really stacked in the Web3 space. And prior to that, it's just standard run-of-the-mill tech startup marketer.
Wow, that's dope. Yeah. Well, we're definitely glad you're here. Couldn't think of a better man for the job. Yeah. So you started out on like soccer, but speaking about like the NFL, since we're American football game, I have to ask, what's your team, and what are some of your favorite players, past and present?
Yeah, so I grew up with the Colts. I'm from Indianapolis originally, for better and for worse. I'm a Hoosier, but I also went to Purdue, so I'm not really a Hoosier. I'm a Boilermaker. Indiana, if you're from Indiana, you're called a Hoosier. And then there's two main state schools: Indiana University and Purdue. So if you go to IU, you're a Hoosier. If you go to Purdue, you're a Boilermaker. You kind of don't say Hoosier that much anymore. Really proud of being from the Midwest. So I grew up with the Colts, blue and white, which is really confusing because my high school colors and middle school colors and elementary school colors were some variation of red and white. And our rival schools were like I think like blue and gray or something like that. But Colts country, blue and white. I grew up in the years of Peyton Manning. I think he joined. When was it? Was it like '98 or '99?
Before I was born. That's all I know.
Geez. Oh, geez, I'm old. And he really came in and just helped transform the Colts from a team that hadn't really had any big hits, and he took them to the Super Bowl inside his first 10 years of the team. Led them to victory over, I'm trying to think, was it the Bears? Pretty sure it was the Bears, and then we lost. We went to Super Bowl again and lost, but it was okay because I think it was this. For some reason, I think it was the Saints. I could be wrong, but it would have been.
It was the Saints, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 05, 06. I think 04, 05 was when we won, and 05. I think 05, 06 was when we lost, or maybe I have 05, 06 and 06, 07. And I was cool with losing to the Saints because like they needed that rebuilding season with Drew Brees in the front, who also went to Purdue, and they needed that after Hurricane Katrina. Totally fair to lose to them, but we beat the Bears, which felt great. So it's just like a hit squad of Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Joseph Adai. I remember that like Adai. I don't remember how it was pronounced, but it was his last name Addai. I don't remember, or Adai to remember. It was just so much energy around the Colts. Tony Dungy was our coach. He stepped aside. I think he had some health issues to tackle, and then I think he went into sports media, went into football, doing color commentary. And it was really I really kind of felt a little stabbed in the back when Peyton Manning said, "I'm going to retire with the Colts." 3 months later, I'm going to the Broncos. And I think they went to the Super Bowl and they win. So that's my football experience. Since then, most of those guys, I think everyone that was on the Colts 20 years ago is retired. But since then, just getting to know rivals, I've really come to like really appreciate like the personalities that players bring to the game on and off the field. I'm a huge fan of Jamal Williams' media presence. I love DK Metcalf. I'm a new fan of Terry McLaurin. He's such a sweet guy. One of his nicknames is Scary Terry, and he said he didn't like that because he really tries to just be a nice guy outside the white lines.
That's funny. I've actually never heard that about Terry. Yeah. So I noticed those are all like those are all like Colts players, QBs. If there's one player like legends, I know from what you said you can't add legends right now, right? But if you could add one legend in the rivals of your choice, would it be Peyton Manning? Would it be someone else?
Without a doubt, Marshawn Lynch.
Ooh.
Absolutely, Marshawn Lynch.
That's a great pick. Yeah.
That man is not only incredibly talented in football, but he's incredibly talented in just the way he is himself. He brings so much humor and mirth and joy to everything he does. And I think if we could strike the right partnership with Marshawn, I think we'd really be onto something. So I loved him on that Netflix show Murderville. I love him every time I loved him on Conan O'Brien's podcast just for fun. I guess he was technically plugging his new marketing agency, but that's not really a thing you plug on a podcast. He's just out there having fun and just truly living a life that we should all aspire to like carry a smile on as much as he does. So I want Marshawn Lynch.
That's amazing. Yeah, we would definitely love a Marshawn Lynch card, I think. Everyone loves beast mode. So I had a couple more like rivals-oriented questions, I guess. some of these, the earlier ones, I think you should be able to answer. If there's some stuff the team has like behind the works, feel free to like no comment on some stuff. But yeah, so let's start off. First off, just speaking on an overall note, like what's the goal and the vision of the team, like when looking at Rivals as a product, I guess? Like what do you want to offer?
I mean, we want the best dang football game ever. I mean, we want to create the best NFL license game possible. Obviously, there's some stiff competition. I mean, not just Madden and Madden Mobile and Madden Ultimate, but we've got a really deep legacy: NFL Blitz, NFL Street. I grew up playing NFL Street. I think it was my first exposure to like football video games. I know it's not true. I had Madden '98 on the Sega Genesis. I was like 5 years old playing that. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. But I had figured it out by the time NFL Street came out. My friend got it. We played it, and he used to beat me all the time until finally something cracked. And I was able to turn it around and start crushing him. And he started throwing his controller after that. So we obviously have a very deep legacy of games to compete against, and this still inspires to this day. But it's not just that we see this competition; we see them as just doing different things. So we just want to create the ultimate kind of dream team building experience where you can collect cards, swap them with other players, and take them on the field and see them in action. And we think that's just the best, and that's the best that we can do. That's what we really want to do. From the blockchain angle, we also want, I mean, this is more mythical level, not just NFL Rivals, but the mythical games level. We build these games with blockchain technology, and we try to hide it in the back end because you don't need to worry about gas fees and nonces and rate limits. You don't need to worry about any of that. What you need to worry about is, are you going to level up Jalen Waddle? Are you going to level up Tyreek Hill? I think you're going to level up Tyreek Hill more than Jalen. No offense, Jalen. That's what we want you guys focused on is the game. And we bring that blockchain technology in because we believe that there is value in digital ownership, particularly around game assets. How many games have you sunk a lot of money in, and suddenly the devs stop supporting it, and then there's nothing you can do? At least with a blockchain, that ownership is eternal. It's not ephemeral; it's eternal. So if something were to happen in Mythical one day, someone could pick up the mantle the next day and build something that recognizes that ownership. That's the beauty of blockchain; it's interoperable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that definitely drew me to Rivals was the fact that you guys kind of tackled like actually making a really fun game first and just marketed it more to like the mobile football games crowd rather than the like blockchain crowd, which I feel like can be a lot more like cutthroat and all they care about is the money. But I feel like a lot of people in the Rivals community now really are like enjoying the game, and that's like a secondary enjoyment aspect. I think you guys have done great at that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean it was a long time trying to like get that strategy right and figure out the right mix of how do we communicate these things, and a lot of back and forth with a lot of different stakeholders. I mean, I just want to give a shout out to the NFL being kind of our lead partner. That's obviously also the NFL Players Association and NFLPA, but it's just those two organizations have so much vision in the future of the games that they attach their names to, that they slap their logos on, that they open their doors to. And Mythical, we're really trying to prove that we can play with the adults in the room. We can put on pants just like everyone else and build a really good game. I mean, our team is comprised of people that worked at Zynga, Activision, Blizzard, EA. Like Billy Shouts. He's our exec producer at NFL Rivals. He used to just spend his nights building the lineups for MUT, for Madden Ultimate Team. And our creative director also worked on Madden with Billy. Christian Casas. I mean, just our people know football. They know games, and we just want to try and do something new. And it's showing, not only because we're getting good numbers, we crossed 2 million downloads for NFL Rivals, but we're also convincing Apple and Google to take a chance on us and showing like, hey, we're not here to scam anybody. We're not here to build speculative pyramids. We're here to build a game that people can enjoy and have real ownership in. And it's been incredible. I think we're probably the first mainstream game. I mean, first game that I'm aware of, mobile game, or even mobile, maybe not mobile app, but definitely mobile game, to bring NFT buying into iOS and Android. We're definitely the first to bring secondary transactions to iOS and Android. And we even worked with Google and helped them create a new policy around digital assets and NFT ownership on mobile apps. As long as we comply with certain policies, and we make sure we don't abuse it, then it's all gravy as far as Google's concerned. They're giving us a chance to prove that this experiment can work. This can be a new age in gaming.
That's
So,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so now I was gonna ask this like a little later, I guess, but you've touched on it a little bit. So you talked about how you guys are like kind of competing with like that in comparison to Madden, I guess. Like, how do you guys view? Do you view yourself as almost like a competitor or more like an alternative? Like, you guys are like more of like the arcade mobile game, and then Madden is like a more like realistic game, I guess. Like, what would you say to players coming over to Madden as to like what they should expect from you guys that's the same, different, or like better, I guess? Or do you mind like being compared? Like, do you want, I don't know, do you like want, expect, or would you have people think of it as an entirely new experience?
Yeah. It's. I think we're trying to build a new experience. It's arcade style. It's fast paced. And the buy sell trade with other players. I think we're doing it in a way that makes it very different. I mean, it's a natural comparison. So I think we see Madden as Madden Mobile and the Madden games as both corollaries, but also competitors. But I mean, so is Candy Crush. At the end of the day, every mobile game, everything on your phone, Netflix, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, every single notification you can get, they're kind of our competition because attention, just the world we live in, attention is such a scarce and precious commodity. But in terms of like the football world, I mean, I think there's room for us, and some of it might come from Madden Mobile time, some of it might not.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I would think that's a great way to look at it. So yeah, that kind of leads into another question. What do you guys see the game looking like in 5 years? And do you think we could see expansion from like mobile to maybe a console or like PC version of the game?
I think we're going to stick with mobile games at Mythical because we see them as the way to reach the biggest audiences possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think I think the majority of planet Earth has a smartphone by this point, capable of running some version of games. There are entire countries where it's cheaper. Like there are entire countries where they never actually send an SMS text message because they just jump straight to LTE infrastructure. So we really just with the games that we're launching, NFL Rivals, Nitro Nation. Now we've announced Blankos is going mobile. We have another game concept in the works that's approaching the alpha stage. We just see mobile as the real way to go. And as far as Rivals is concerned, I think the ways that we'll expand, I think we'll do more expansion into the real world of finding ways that we can integrate with the NFL, IRL, with players, with the games, getting you guys, the community, the players, chances to go to games, or chances to meet players, or chances to win signed merchandise. And I think also the opportunities in the future, we could extend Rivals into a franchise and talk to, we've been in talks with other sporting leagues from around the world. Can't say much more than that, but you could, in the not too distant future, see an announcement about, 3-letter something Rivals.
That's definitely a really exciting teaser. Yeah, that would be amazing, and I definitely see where you're coming from on the mobile side. So let's talk a little bit about the state of the game in terms of like competitive balance, power balance right now. I personally have really loved a lot of the improvements you guys have made lately with the changes to some of the tournament rewards. The blueprints, I think, are a great addition to the game, and I think you guys have been doing a really great job getting the feedback from the community and incorporating that in creative ways to make the game better. So my question for you is, in an ideal state of the game, what would your vision be for like a free-to-play versus like someone who spends here and there, like buys a pack once a month, once every couple of weeks, versus like obviously the whales you see in mobile gaming?
Yeah, it's hard to say what just precisely my vision is, but I think what the team's vision is, we want everyone to have access to a good experience. It doesn't make sense for, let's say I'm a whale and you're a new player. It doesn't make sense for you and me to be competing with each other. So I think as we, as we progress, I could see us creating kind of using the leagues as barometers for the hardcore competitors that are in it every single day, to the more casual gamers who are checking in, buying maybe a pack or two a week, check out new players, and compete in the events. Maybe they knock all their games one day, and then the new players that are hopefully always coming in. I could see us using the leagues as an opportunity to do that. We expand on squad functionality, so there's kind of like the new player experience that squads can provide to kind of really soup up kind of the onboarding. I love seeing in the community someone says, "Hey, I'm new here. I love Rivals. Someone help me figure this out." And seeing you guys like, "Hey, I DM'd you," or explaining strategies, walking each other through the marketplace. Like, that really warms my heart. That means that I've done my job, which feels really good. To keep you guys, to get you guys in the community, get you engaged, and get you to stick around and support each other. That feels really good. But we could see something where there might be kind of a few different tracks within the game. Like, this is clearly the whale track. This is clearly the new player track. This is kind of the middle ground track. We could come up. I could see us doing things like that around events and qualifications, and then what are the different things that feed into the leagues? Because like with base events, it doesn't always make sense for someone that has been around with Rivals, coming up on 4 months of the game. After 6 months, someone's got a full roster of maxed out base cards for every position. They're like high power, and they've been collecting every single legendary, got a handful of the mythicals. It doesn't make sense to require them to compete in base events to stay in the top league. So we can look at different things like that and tweak. It's always a learning experience with live ops games like this, live service games. So I always try to remind the community, we are always learning. We do not have all the answers. We're doing our best, and I always appreciate when people come up with ideas and have answers of their own, because through collective sense making, we'll find the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what, on that topic, I guess, what is the team, I guess, from your side, from the team side, what do they view as, like, some of the main, since you've gotten a lot of players from kickoff, what do you guys view as the main problems for the game moving forward out of beta? And, like, what are you guys, like, what kind of steps could we expect on those, I guess?
Yeah, so we're really trying to crack that retention piece. Like, our numbers are pretty good, but we always want them to be better. But I think that's our crucial piece, is getting people to keep coming back to the game after a week, after a month, after 3 months. That's always key with mobile gaming. It's always like, how do we keep retention up, and how do we keep it growing? Because we want that loyalty. It's easier to keep a player whose heart and mind you've already won once. It's easier to keep them happy than it is to try and convince a new person to come around. So rather than start from zero, we'd like to start from like step 3, 4, 5, 10. So yeah, that's what we're trying to solve right now. So, you can expect different pieces around retention. We introduced the new power playoffs. We introduced the arena. We introduced the daily check-ins. We expanded them in kickoff to twice the length. You could soon see like a 30-day like kind of rewards track. We could do something like that. I think that for me, I look at Duolingo as our kind of gold standard on like mobile app retention. So it is gamified like language learning, but they're pretty good about getting people to stick with it and build streaks. So we want to figure out how do we do that and amplify that in a way that doesn't involve spamming you on every single channel possible. I remember having to tell Duolingo to calm down notifications, but we also want to, remind you that, hey, we're here and we're fun, and you like us.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting that you guys came with Duolingo instead of like another mobile game, I guess. But yeah, so I'm just gonna give, before we hop off in like 5 to 7-ish minutes, I wanted to give you a little quick hitters, some like teasers for the people, I guess. You can just answer these like super briefly, or you can go into a little more teasers if you want. So first quick hitter, oh wait, shoot, sorry, we have one more in-depth question before we get into quick hitters, if that's fine. So I said let's talk about like power creep, and that's one of the things I think you guys have done an amazing job at. Like, I think it's all the promos just give variety at the top, and they're really not pushing up like power too much where it becomes unsustainable, especially for like NFTs, and it's going in a like year long or like a long period of time, right? Which we've seen in other Ultimate Team games. So I was wondering what can we expect in terms of that? Like, I talked about what I think you guys perceive the cards to be. So like where rares are like a beginner friendly card, epics are like a pretty viable card, and then the legendaries and mythicals are like top tier. Is that how you guys view it? Like, what kind of is a goal with each tier of card?
Well, so, I mean, starting with Mythical, we think Mythical is supposed to be just that. It's supposed to be kind of a myth and legend of the program of, like, hey, that's an Aaron Rodgers card from right when he joined the Jets. And we want it to be relatively memorable, like our Tyreek Hill card. He was, this past draft great where he wasn't drafted in the first round, but he turned out to be, I think like third round and after, or was it after the third round? I forget how he defined that. But he turned into this incredible wide receiver after just a few years. And now he's on the Dolphins, and he's regarded by many as one of the fastest in the league. When I was doing this fantasy league drafts with the community, he was in the top 5 on Yahoo Fantasy to be drafted. So, we want those mythicals to kind of have a story attached to them to really be relevant to the program. We want all the cards to have that story, but the mythical obviously is the most important. Not most important, but will be the most relevant because it is so rare and theoretically will hold the most value. So that's how we view mythicals. We want, and legendaries are kind of a little bit less so, still relevant to the program. Epics, epics and rares I think are kind of more your meat and potatoes. Like everyone should be able to get these. These are, like the rares I think are in the blueprints are the ways that we get new players into the economy, the game economy, and we say like, hey, here's a rare card. Okay, like what does that mean? Well, more powerful than a base card, way more powerful, but it's not the most powerful thing in the game. Pretty easy to get your hands on, not too expensive. You can pick them up on the mythical marketplace. For hopefully you can find a decent price from your fellow player or make an offer because offers are live now, and you can start to build your team and get a feel for, okay, this is what this position is supposed to feel like once the card gets some good stats, and from there you can start to trade into epics and legendaries as you build your way up. So it's kind of just like a ladder. Start with base cards and you're kind of onboarding, play some base events, play some of the solo campaign, and get your hands on some rares, get your hands on some epics to really start to get a feel for how positions you're supposed to work with different plays. And if you're ready for it, then start collecting legendaries if you're ready to double down on your team and compete for mythicals.
Yeah, awesome. So, okay, now we can get into the quick hitters, I guess. So, first of all, how often do you guys expect? Should we expect kind of the same, like once a month a promo?
Yeah, I think like about 5 weeks is our timeline for promos.
All right, sounds good.
For our programs.
Yeah, do you guys think you're gonna have like themed promos for like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or more stick on NFL related stuff?
We're gonna do whatever we think is most relevant. We've done draft, we did rewind, shakers, and kickoff, but our next program will not be tied to an NFL event. It will be tied to an IRL event. I'll let you guess which holiday it is.
Interesting. Okay. I feel like our viewers have a pretty good idea which holiday it is. But yeah, I'm excited for that, definitely. So I know this is obviously really far in the future for the next feature, but I know the team has talked about a playable defense. Like way in the future, like 3 to 5 years, if that playable defense would be a thing, like do you think that could lay the foundation for a like live player versus player mode similar to like a Clash Royale?
Oh man, I personally would love that, but I cannot imagine what that'll look like. I have no idea what Rivals will look like in 3 years, much less like the next 6 months. So who knows? I would love to see something like that happen, where you can have that kind of live PvP where, like, while we're talking, we could also be playing Rivals against each other. I would love to see something like that. But really, truly, the key thing that we really want what we're licensed to do, which is arcade style games. So we want that fast paced gameplay. So if we did create something like that live PvP, obviously it has to fit within the scope of our deal with the league and the Players Association. But we also want to make sure that those games are rapid fire. That they're like bam, bam, bam. We don't want you spending, I don't know. One of my favorite live service games is Apex Legends. Those games can last like 20 minutes, and we definitely don't want that to happen for NFL Rivals.
No, yeah, definitely get where you're coming from there. So, on the less like PvP, but still kind of like more of a PvP, a lot of these like multiplayer games with the league function have like a squad versus squad mode where you like directly play the other team's squad, or like the other squad's like teams. You know kind of what I mean, like Clan Wars, Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get something like that in the near future?
Near is always hard to say. I think with each program we try to do like one big feature push. It's always hard to speak to the priority list because like today, feature A could be a top priority, but then something happens in a couple weeks we realize it's way more complicated to build, or the sentiment shifts, or we get some new data around like what's going to get people to stick around with the game, or we get directives from on high. We need to build something else. So it's always tricky, but so it's hard to say like when it'll come, but I think we would really want. We would love to do more stuff around squads. Obviously, we have to kind of fulfill the promises made to Rarity League owners, but it's just more fun when you're playing with your friends. Like seeing what you guys come up with in your squad chats. It's been incredible to see like the Fire Away, the Blitz Brigade, the Riot Party, those different kind of sub brands, if you will, on their NFL rivals. To see those develop and emerge, it's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So yeah. I want to see the game like be able to where you can engage at that level with the game. I would love to see that.
Absolutely, yeah. I think squads have been one of the best parts of my Rivals experience so far. So that would be awesome if we get that. Now, I know you've been asked this a lot. You've been asked this a lot in huddles. Just real quick for my viewers that may not have been in those. One of the most highly things, I think this is one of the things you most get asked about the economy, is will we have some kind of like sets or like exchange where maybe I trade 3 rare players for 1 epic player, something like that?
Yeah, we'd love to do something like that. And again, it's always tricky. We have to kind of, doing that kind of thing, especially tokens, would be new for the league and the association. So we're going to make sure that we're using things that are brand safe for them. In NFT land, we call it burning. But when it has like a name and face attached, real person's name and face and career attached to it, I don't think burning is going to be the right word. So we definitely want to come up with those kinds of things where you can't use duplicates in your lineup, especially like at the rare and epic level. You can't use duplicates, and you're going to have a lot more of those cards. I know I have 3 Lakin Tomlinsons that not only do I have cards that are better, that are higher power rating, but I can't use all those Lakins. So what do I do with them? Well, I could go sell them in the Mythical Marketplace, but if no one wants them. Maybe there is a path where I turn them into an epic, or maybe there is a path where I can combine them to like increase like the minimum power level of the card or something like that. As you're talking about like power creep, the other thing we have to watch out for in game economies is supply creep. So we really need to make sure that we take care of that and create opportunities to make sure we're not oversupplying. I know that's just a big issue in any kind of collectibles based game or like economy, but also that could help secure and maybe even improve the value of these cards over the long term.
Perfect. Yeah. So just 2 more questions for you. One of these is, can we expect like cosmetic items or unlockables like helmets and uniforms in the future?
I think we can say we can expect that. We just can't expect the win on that part. I've voiced the communities and my own enthusiasm for the cosmetic pieces, and we're already. I can say with our next program, we're already experimenting with something at a cosmetic level. It's not necessarily like something that's earnable or purchasable, but it is something that we're experimenting with around that you'll be able to interact with in the game, and hopefully that bodes well. It all works, and then that means we can do more of that in the future, and then open that up for why not spend $1 so you can play instead of helmets they're clown wigs? Why not?
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. And then final question on this quick hitter section, and then we'll basically wrap up after that, is will we ever get something like in kind of like, I'll use like a Madden concept to illustrate this, like in like Madden console, Madden mobile, they have like a Madden master where the way I guess it would look mirrored to NFL Rivals is, let's say I finish every single one of the achievements in the achievement list, it would have like a like a legendary player. Do you think we could see a player like that where you grind for them kind of outside of one of these promos? Because most of the players we've seen have been like tied to the promos, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is tough to do those kinds of things because when it comes to these players, we want to make sure that we're not necessarily elevating one over the other. I mean, yes, there are rarities and power levels and all those things. That's inherent to the game. But if we do that kind of thing, we just can't do too much to elevate and say, hey, complete all these and then you'll get a certain player. maybe we could say you could pull from this list. So we could do something like that. Or maybe get one random from that list, or maybe you could choose. I don't know. But I mean, I like that idea. I think I'll take the 5 team, see what they say.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's mostly it, I guess. Before we wrap up, is there any teasers you want to drop on anything cool you want to talk about that's like coming in the game that we can look forward to?
It's not. I don't want to get any hopes up. I just want to say potentially the next program is just going to look so fun and so cool. I think everyone knows what it is, but just in case you aren't aware, my birthday is in October, so that's the holiday that we're theming it around.
Of course.
So we're gonna make it Commissioner Jonathan theme now. But I've seen the early artwork on this and what we're gonna do with just all elements of the game as much as we can pull off and get approved. I'm super excited for it. So that's all I've got to tease.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. Thank you again so much for coming on, giving amazing answers.
Thanks.
Yeah. Do you have any like social platforms, anything you want me to put up for people to like follow you, give you a shout, whatever?
I mean, you definitely need to play NFL Rivals on Twitter and Instagram, and join us on Discord at discord.gg/NFL Rivals. But if you can't get enough Commissioner, I do tweet occasionally at I'm Tall Jonathan.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll put all those social links up on the screen right now. Go shoot Jonathan a follow. Thank you once again for coming on. So this has been an amazing video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Toonatty out.